You are welcome to Explains 102, where financial tips are made simple. There was a young man named Daniel who had always believed that working hard was the key to financial success. He was disciplined, arrived at work on time, rarely missed a deadline, and was respected by both his colleagues and his employer. Every month, his salary was paid without delay, and every year he looked forward to a promotion. Yet, despite all his hard work, Daniel felt as though he was running in circles. Whenever an emergency came, he had no savings to rely on. Whenever an opportunity to invest appeared, he didn't have the money. Whenever his friends talked about buying land, starting businesses, or building wealth, Daniel could only listen. He often wondered why people who earned almost the same income seemed to be making greater financial progress than he was. One evening, after another month of wondering where all his salary had gone, Daniel decided to visit Mr. Johnson, an elderly businessman in his neighborhood. Mr. Johnson was known for his wisdom. He wasn't the richest man in town, but everyone admired the way he managed money. Even during difficult economic times, he remained calm and financially stable. After exchanging greetings, Daniel asked the question that had been bothering him for years. "Sir, I've been working for several years. I earn a decent salary, yet I always feel like I'm starting from the beginning every month. Why do some people become financially secure while others keep struggling, even when they work just as hard?" Mr. Johnson smiled gently. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he poured 2 glasses of water and handed one to Daniel. Then he said, "Daniel, imagine 2 people trying to build a house. They use the same amount of cement, the same number of blocks, and the same design. But one follows the engineer's instructions carefully, while the other ignores them and builds however he likes. Which house do you think will stand the test of time?" Daniel answered without hesitation, "The one that followed the instructions." Mr. Johnson nodded. "Exactly. Money works the same way." Daniel looked confused. Mr. Johnson continued, "Many people believe money is controlled by luck. Others think it belongs only to those who earn high salaries. But after spending more than 40 years in business, I've discovered something different." He leaned forward and spoke slowly. "Money has rules. The people who respect those rules gradually build wealth. The people who ignore them keep repeating the same financial mistakes, no matter how much they earn." Those words caught Daniel's attention. He had never thought about money having rules. He believed financial success depended mainly on education, a good job, or earning a bigger income. Seeing the curiosity on Daniel's face, Mr. Johnson smiled again. "Think about it," he said. "Every successful area of life has rules. There are rules for driving safely, rules for staying healthy, rules for building a strong family. If you ignore those rules, there are consequences. Money is no different." Daniel sat quietly, thinking about his own life. Perhaps his financial struggles weren't simply caused by rising prices or a small salary. Perhaps he had unknowingly broken some important financial rules. If that was true, then learning those rules could completely change his future. He looked at Mr. Johnson and asked eagerly, "What are these financial rules? And how can I start applying them before I make more costly mistakes?" Mr. Johnson smiled. "My son, those are exactly the lessons every person should learn before trying to build wealth. Once you understand them, you'll never look at money the same way again." And that is exactly what we're going to discover in today's lesson: the financial rules you should never break if you want to build lasting wealth and enjoy true financial freedom. Mr. Johnson looked at Daniel and said, "The first financial rule you should never break is simple: always spend less than you earn." Daniel nodded, but Mr. Johnson continued, "This sounds obvious, yet it is one of the most commonly broken financial rules. Many people earn a good income, but because their expenses are always higher than their earnings, they never make financial progress. If you spend everything you earn, or worse, spend more than you earn, you leave yourself with nothing to save, invest, or prepare for the future." He then shared the second rule: pay yourself first. Whenever your salary or business income comes in, he explained, don't wait until the end of the month to save. By then, there is usually nothing left. Instead, save or invest a portion of your income before spending on anything else. Your future deserves to be paid just as much as your landlord, your utility company, or anyone else. Daniel realized he had always done the opposite. He paid every bill first and hoped to save whatever remained. Unfortunately, very little ever remained. Mr. Johnson smiled and continued. The third rule is to avoid bad debt. Not every loan is bad, but borrowing to finance a lifestyle you cannot afford is dangerous. Debt should help you create value, not create stress. Before borrowing, always ask yourself whether the money will help you grow financially or simply satisfy a temporary desire. He then added another important rule. Always prepare for the unexpected. Life is full of surprises. A medical emergency, loss of income, unexpected repairs, or family responsibilities can happen at any time. That is why an emergency fund is not a luxury, it is a necessity. People who prepare for difficult times recover faster than those who ignore the possibility of emergencies. Finally, Mr. Johnson said, never allow your money to remain idle forever. Invest consistently. Saving protects your money, but investing gives it the opportunity to grow. You don't have to start with a large amount. Start with what you have and remain consistent. Time is one of the greatest allies in wealth creation. Daniel listened carefully and began to understand something he had never considered before. Building wealth is not about knowing complicated financial secrets. It is about faithfully following simple financial rules over a long period of time. Mr. Johnson smiled and concluded, Daniel, money doesn't usually reward intelligence alone. It rewards discipline. The people who become financially successful are often those who consistently respect these timeless financial rules, even when nobody is watching. Practical lessons. Daniel left Mr. Johnson's house with a new perspective. He realized that financial success was not reserved for a lucky few. It was available to anyone willing to respect the basic rules of money and apply them consistently. The difference between financial struggle and financial stability often lies in the small decisions we make every day. The first lesson is to live below your means. No matter how much you earn, avoid making your lifestyle more expensive every time your income increases. Instead of using every salary increase to buy more things, use part of it to build your savings and investments. A modest lifestyle today can create financial freedom tomorrow. The second lesson is to pay yourself first. Before paying bills or spending on entertainment, save or invest a portion of your income. Even if you can only set aside a small amount each month, consistency is more important than the amount. Over time, those small contributions can grow into something significant. Another lesson is to stay away from unnecessary debt. Before borrowing money, ask yourself whether the debt will improve your financial future or simply satisfy a temporary desire. Borrowing to build a productive business or acquire an appreciating asset is very different from borrowing to impress others or finance an expensive lifestyle. You should also make it a habit to prepare for emergencies. Life is unpredictable, and unexpected expenses can happen at any time. Building an emergency fund gives you peace of mind and prevents you from relying on loans or credit whenever a crisis arises. Financial security begins with being prepared. Another important lesson is to invest consistently. Saving is important, but investing allows your money to grow over time. You don't need to wait until you become wealthy before you begin. Start with what you have, remain patient, and allow time to work in your favor. Small, consistent investments made over many years often produce remarkable results. Finally, never stop learning about money. The world of finance continues to change, and the more you understand budgeting, saving, investing, and wealth creation, the better your financial decisions will become. Financial education is one of the few investments that can benefit you for the rest of your life. As we conclude, remember this: money has rules, and those rules never change. People who consistently respect them gradually build wealth, while those who ignore them often repeat the same financial mistakes year after year. Financial freedom is not achieved overnight. It is the result of wise decisions made consistently over time. If you found this lesson helpful, subscribe to Explains 102, where financial tips are made simple. Join our growing community as we learn how money works, avoid costly financial mistakes, and build lasting wealth one smart financial decision at a time.